What's going on, guys? Killer6, and today I'm giving you guys my build video for my Stabbomancer Spellshot Combo. I'm just going to call it the Cryomancer build because of all the cryo and spell casting that we're going to do with this thing. Alright, so basically here's the gist of how this build works. We mostly, almost exclusively, will be using from the shadows. We get crit damage on everything we do. Everything is a crit, and that's pretty dope. That's for 8 whole seconds, but you do lose crit damage by 25%. I know that sounds terrible, but it's not gonna matter that much. You guys saw the intro of this video. You guys can see what this thing does. Now, what other skills are important? Obviously, you're probably gonna want to lay out your tree just like I did. If you want to do the exact kind of damage that I did, you might tinker around here or there, but just know that this is 5 points out of 5, and it's got +3 from my class mod, and then this skill, Magic Bullets, is 3 out of 3 with 2 points from my class mod on that as well. The cool thing about the builds in this game is if at any point I decide that I want to switch over to ambidextrous, I can literally do that. I can do that right in the middle of a fight, even if I want to, and then you just slap on your 2 spells on there. Now, the reason that I like to do from the shadows is because I can take advantage of the enchantments that give me on after casting a spell, and also on action skill start or action skill active. Being able to use all of those enchantments together is really strong. Plus, I am in love with the 2020 enchantment, and when I say 2020, I'm talking about on action skill start, increase damage dealt by 20% for 20 seconds. This is amazing on weapons. You guys see in the footage at the beginning, you know what this thing can do. I try to get that on all my weapons, but I end up bricking weapons a lot because of it, so keep that in mind. You got to be careful when you're re-rolling, but I have gotten lucky with quite a few of these things and been able to do that. In terms of the gear that I use, the most important thing is the liquid cooling. You guys saw in the footage what that thing's capable of. That said, you might also see in the footage that I use a purple SMG. This isn't anything special. You can find this in vending machines. You can get it from the barf bunnies. It's just like a random drop. It's not a unique, it's not a boss drop, it's just a purple item. Doesn't even have a good enchantment on it, but I think if I try to roll it again, then I'm on the verge of bricking this thing, so I really don't want to like mess that up, but it's on there if you guys want to do it. I'm at 1,000 for the next reroll. Obviously I can keep re-rolling it, but it's a little risky. You could brick your item. Other gear that I'm using is the White Rider. Now, all of my weapons other than this Shadowfire are chaotic or less, including the peg leg, which doesn't even have it's not chaotic or volatile. Chaotic is 1 step up from regular weapons, so obviously if I had a chaotic peg leg, that's 1 step up from this, and it's going to give me better stats. If I had a volatile, it's going to be a step up from chaotic, and it's going to give me better stats. So same thing with the liquid cooling, my Spriggan, and White Rider. All of these can still be improved. If you have better versions of them, you're going to do more damage than what I'm even doing in this footage. So now I also have this volatile Shadowfire. This thing is a lot of fun. You'll see this in the footage as well. For the shield, I'm using the Last Gasp. For my class mod, I had been using for the longest time the Amalgam, and the Amalgam's great because it gives you a bunch of different boosts on a bunch of different stats, but for whatever reason, the game changer for me, the thing that like made my build like over the top, is this Corrupted Plate Mail. This thing gives me 30% of my damage dealt to dark magic damage. Now, when I first read that, I was like, oh, okay, it's going to take away some of my damage and then, swap it out for dark magic. I feel like I shred even faster now than ever before. It doesn't hurt that this thing also has plus 17.8% all damage dealt, fire rate bonus, and gun critical hit chance. All those things add up to making this really, really strong. Now, this could be improved even further if you were able to find it with the rolls like this one has. This one has +2 to 1,000 cuts. Critical hits increase damage dealt for a duration. You can find one that has stats like this, but also has 1,000 cuts on it, then you've got a really good one. Now, I could swap to this one. You can use this one. It's going to be on the save file if you're on PC. And then again, I've got this one as well. This one has ability damage, spell critical chance, but having the fire rate, the all damage dealt, that to me is even better. Plus it's chaotic, so I get even more spell shot power and more Stabbomancer power than I get from these other ones as well. But we've got a few different class mods on there that you can tinker around with. The shield, I use the Last Gasp. The cool things about the Last Gasp are the 25% fire rate, the 20% reload speed, and you regenerate ammo while the ward is depleted. So your ward gets depleted a lot in this game, and since in my skill tree I am doing glass cannon, so that I no longer automatically recharge my ward, so my ward will be down a lot, and the only way that I charge it back up is by casting spells or popping my action skill. So since my ward is going to be down a lot, having this fire rate, reload speed, and also regenerate health and get damage resistance for 3 seconds with the adaptive roll on this thing too. So just all those things add up to be really good. For my amulet, I'm using the Urge. I love this thing. Whenever I cast a spell, I reduce my remaining action skill cooldown by 20%. While my action skill is on cooldown, my spell damage is increased. So the cool thing about this is combining this with the capstone of this tree, where when I do critical hits, I get my spell back quick. And the spell that I'm using is a Buffmeister that has 2 spell charges. So I cast my spell, it gives me 20% cooldown on my action skill. I cast again, another 20% on that. I shoot an enemy, get a bunch of crits. That gives me my spell back. I cast the spell again, more cooldown on my action skill. You can see in the footage that I get my action skill back pretty quick a lot of the time. So basically you just want to always be popping your action skill while you're in that. Use your spells. When you come out of it, use your spells. Just keep popping those spells, because as you're hitting crits, you're getting your spells back really quick. And popping the Buffmeister means you're going to have lots of damage, including spell damage and gun damage. It's just really strong. And plus the enchantment that I got on this thing is so good. After casting a spell, I get gun damage increased by 20%, fire rate increased by 30%. It really honestly makes the liquid cooling just an absolute laser beam. The enchantment that I'm using on the peg leg increases my gun damage as well for 10 seconds. And the enchantment on this one is on action skill start, increase gun damage. So you combine all those things, since they're all different enchantments, you can't combine enchantments that are the same. So like if all 3 of my things had on action skill start increase gun damage by 40%, the other 2 wouldn't work. It would only work on this one thing. So that's why you want to like stack things like this. So obviously casting spells, I'm increasing my gun damage. Popping my action skill, I'm increasing my gun damage. And popping another spell, I'm increasing gun damage, since this one is a different enchantment than this one. So all of those combined equal a ton of gun damage with this build. In terms of my rings, I'm using 2 championship rings, and I know a lot of people will be like, whoa, K6, those don't stack. They don't stack. They're each individually boosted by that damage dealt to a boss. And I know that I don't get any 100% boost on this when I'm not fighting a boss, but you see in the footage, I don't need a boost when I'm not fighting a boss at all. I tear up mobs like crazy. Even when we're doing elite encounters and the enemies are like, 6 levels higher than me, they just melt away. So I don't need it for that. I only like to have that boost for when I'm fighting bosses, and I like to have 2 of them. So this one gives me spell critical hit chance, ability critical hit damage, ability critical hit chance. This one gives me action skill duration, which I freaking love when I'm in a boss fight. That is so good, because you hit a boss with any kind of damage when you first pop your action skill, and you essentially double that action skill duration stat up there. Plus both of these give me gun damage, so I'm getting even more gun damage. It's just really strong. Finally, like I was saying, the Buffmeister, and this can be improved on. I don't even have a chaotic Buffmeister on this build. This is just a regular one. So if you can find a chaotic one, even better. But other spells that I like to use, I have this Twister that I absolutely love. This one has double spell charge as well, so you can cast it twice. For the longest time I used the Twister, I didn't bother with the Buffmeister. The reason I like to use the Buffmeister now is not so much the damage, but it's because of that speed boost that I get. Whenever I pop the Buffmeister, I can run fast as hell. Plus the enchantment that I got on it gives me even more gun damage. So it's less about the Buffmeister and more about the enchantment and the speed boost that I get, because I can absolutely wreck with the Twister too. But my Twister doesn't have as good of an enchantment, so that's mostly why I use the Buffmeister. My myth rank, I don't have the ability to turn this off. I hope that they add a toggle at some point in the future so I could turn this off and show you this build without the myth rank stuff. But I'll go through each of these and turn them on so you can see my stats in each if you want to. I don't know if that matters to anybody or not, but I'm showing them off to you anyhow. As you can see, we're on Chaos 20. It shows the enemy HP bonuses and all that stuff on there. The save file for this, for PC only. I'm sorry if you're on console, there's just not an option for console players to download PC save files. But if you are on PC and you want to download this, head over to my Discord server. There is a link down in the description below. Click on that, go into the game save section on my Discord server, and you can download the save from there. The only trick is, if for some reason you happen to have a character named Afromancer, it will overwrite your save. So make sure you don't download and install this save if you already have a character named Afromancer, because it will overwrite it. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon for more. Let me know down in the comment section below, what do you guys think about this build? Look forward to hearing from you guys. Y'all have a wonderful day. Take care.